Officers, stand.
His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Honorable Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, Prime Minister, Honorable members of the Guyana Defense Board, members of the Commissioning Board, heads of the discipline services, Ambassador responsible for defense diplomacy, Brigadier Godfrey Bess, Director of the National Intelligence and Security Agency, Director of the Customs Anti-Narcotic Unit, my branch heads, Guyana's Military Attaché to the United States, Colonel Julius Skid, Director and Deputy Directors of the National Defense Institute, Dr. Posad and Dr. Levius, Commanders, Senior and Junior Officers of the Regular and Reserve, members of the media, and may I also single out all our female officers present here and those on duty and other ranks. They are celebrating their 50th anniversary, Women in the Guyana Defense Force. Congratulations and happy anniversary again. Good morning and welcome to the opening ceremony of the Guyana Defense Force Annual Officers Conference 2025. This year's conference is held under the theme, Transforming the Force to Better Confront the Nation's Present and Future Challenges by enhancing its awareness, adaptability, and agility capabilities. The conference will be conducted over 2 days. Additionally, we are thankful, Commander-in-Chief, for addressing recently our lowest paid ranks and raising their basic salary. For all other national initiatives that your government has undertaken, and for which all officers and ranks will enjoy, we are appreciative and thankful for sale. As I close, I reiterate the Guyana Defense Force will continue to serve our nation passionately and is prepared to defend our territory, our people, and our resources. Commander-in-Chief, we are here to serve. Thank you. Officers, at this time, I welcome you to join me as I invite our Commander-in-Chief, a visionary leader and a passionate servant of the people. Excellency, I invite you.
Thank you. Please have your seats. Thank you, Chief of Defense Staff, our dear Prime Minister, members of the Defense Board, heads of the joint services, branch heads, retired chiefs, and all our officers. Good morning. It gives me great honor once again to join you on this significant day when you will evaluate, assess, re-energize, and reposition your strategies based on current challenges and an understanding of future challenges. So it is both an honor and a duty as your Commander-in-Chief to address you at this annual Officers Conference 2025. This is a pivotal event within the Guyana Defense Force. Its hosting underscores our collective commitment to safeguarding the sovereignty and security of our country. The conference provides us with a critical opportunity to assess the force's readiness to respond to any eventuality, whether in terms of national defense or in requests to internal security. The annual Officers Conference is also a platform for us to engage in meaningful discourse on evolving security challenges that Guyana faces, shaped by the dynamic interplay of global, regional, and domestic circumstances. You, the GDF leaders, have an obligation at this conference to reflect on your responsibilities, strengthen the Army's resolve, and chart a course that ensures the GDF remains a capable, agile, and forward-thinking institution, prepared to protect our people and our nation. And I say forward-thinking because we, and I am convinced, spending the last 4+ years interacting with many of you, seeing your performance, hearing about the evaluation of your performance on the international stage, that we have among our officers the best pound for pound in the world. We have thinkers, we have strategists, we have innovators, we have builders. And I want you to know that I'm extremely proud of your performance, and I'm extremely proud about the way you've been developing individually and collectively. This is going to be our strength in the future, our human asset, our human work of military diplomacy now. Even in our human capital, the development of our human capital, we have our officers at the best military institutions in the UK, France, India, US, Netherlands, Brazil. That tells you the scope of our partnership, the depth of our partnership. But in understanding the scope and depth of our partnership, in understanding that we have a policy that we work with everyone, we must know who we can rely on. We must understand who are our unshakable, reliable allies. And our military strategy must differentiate based on this critical analysis. And our strategic partnership and knowing who we can rely on must also be measured against shared prosperity and economic development. It is critical integration in modern-day military operation. In this environment of complexity, that's how I want to describe the global environment that the military must operate in today. In this environment of complexity, military nimbleness, military diplomacy, innovation and technology are the cornerstone of the response agenda. And we are investing, Dr. Levers will tell you. We understand this. The future of military strength and military nimbleness, military awareness, military response will be built on technology and AI. Strength will not only be evaluated on human capital and human asset and fixed physical assets, but is our ability to now transform our strategy to incorporate where the future is going. Innovation, AI, and technology. It must therefore be an important arm of the Guyana Defense Force, where we build out this capability in context with whose technology, in context with whose AI, knowing that we must adopt what is relevant to us. To do this, there are some important issues that we must evaluate. Sovereignty must be expanded beyond our geographic space. We must have a critical evaluation as to the sovereignty of our data and information, the sovereignty of our technology. These are all added challenges that the new global environment poses for us. And we, at this juncture of the development of the Guyana Defense Force, when we are reorienting our investment, we must understand and take these challenges into consideration. Outside of this, of course, we have seen one of our most important strategic partners, the United States. New focus. There is now a renewed and new focus on the Western Hemisphere with an important philosophy: securing borders and protecting assets. I repeat that. The new focus of our important strategic ally in the Western Hemisphere that involves securing borders, protecting assets. This poses significant opportunity and challenges because migrants' movement will take different shape, form, and destination. And as I said, migrant movement is linked to economic opportunities and prosperity. And when you examine the headlines within the region in which we reside, where are those opportunities? Where are those opportunities? Who is commanding the headlines in this regard? So this issue must therefore be critically examined at this officers' conference. Outside of that, it is very important, and that is why the National Defense Institute is key and critical to the future of the Guyana Defense Force. Not only in providing training, but in providing an understanding of philosophy or philosophical approach to problems, the region, and development of ideas. And why is this important? In this region today, we have also seen changes in military alignment and partnership. Changes in military alignment and partnership. But we have also seen what I describe as a philosophical chess playing among different members in the region. A philosophical chess playing that has security implications. And we must be able to understand what is driving these philosophical chess movements that is occurring. Because if you are captured in a certain philosophical mindset, we have to understand the exposure it brings to the country. And these are key things. Military officers must therefore be critical thinkers in this environment. Because at the end of the day, you offer me the best possible advice, taking every circumstance into evaluation. Therefore, this global environment in which we are operating cannot be left aside in this officers' conference. Much time must be spent. In just 48 hours, we have seen major movements in what we were describing last year as wars that seems to have no end. We have seen changes in position. We have seen public pronouncement on what are the new priorities. These things must not go unnoticed. These things must form part of the discourse, the discussion, the evaluation that you will have here. As you're all aware, as a small state, we firmly believe in and embrace security through peaceful means, adhering to the principle that we do not threaten or use force against others, except in the clear and justified case of self-defense. Implicit in and integral to our foreign policy is our condemnation of the use of force as a means of settling disputes or as a pathway to achieving peace. Such actions not only undermine the principles of international law and the United Nations Charter, but also erode the trust and cooperation necessary for a stable and just global order. Guyana remains committed to resolving conflicts through peaceful means. The second area of focus that is key and critical is that of climate change and natural disasters. The rise in wildfires, the increase in hurricanes and other related storms, the growing intensity of rainfall, and the ongoing challenges to biodiversity loss are stark reminders of the profound impact of climate change on global security. And let me say this, we are part of a region, and we are part of a regional mechanism. And like California, if the regional mechanism requires our service, we have to be of service to the regional mechanism. So our capability is not only national in nature. Our capability is now regional in nature. You will also know that Guyana will host, we are championing this idea on biodiversity. And later this year, we will host the first Biodiversity Summit, the first World Biodiversity Summit in Guyana. The existing tensions between states on competition for scarce resources, such as water, arable land, and energy, intensifies natural disasters. Fueled by warming planet, can displace population, destroy costly infrastructure, and create internal instabilities that disrupt national security. In this context, climate change is no longer just an environmental issue. It is a pressing security challenge that demands urgent attention and coordinated action from nations worldwide. Therefore, climate change and climate security must be an important thematic area that we develop a strategy towards now and in the future. Guyana, too, is vulnerable to the effects of climate change, including the overtopping of our sea defenses, flooding from excessive rainfall, and prolonged droughts. These threats not only endanger lives and livelihood, but also have the potential to strain national resources. The Guyana Defense Force must remain acutely mindful of these issues and the risks they pose to national security. And that is why on all the important boards, the Geology and Mines Commission Board, the Guyana, the Sea Defense Board, and all of these important national boards, we have officers representing the GDF sitting on these boards. Because you must have information. You must be aware. You must be part of the policy making. The Guyana Defense Force must remain acutely mindful of these issues and the risk they pose to national security. By integrating climate resilience and disaster risk management into its strategic planning and operations, the GDF can play a pivotal role in helping to mitigate the impacts of climate-related disasters, protecting our people, and ensuring the stability of our nation in the face of an uncertain and changing climate situation. These things must become part of the formal training and mission of all members of the Guyana Defense Force. Transnational threats. Transnational threats such as narcotics smuggling, and I recognize the director of CANU here, and also the director of NISA. Human trafficking and the illegal movement of firearms across our borders pose significant challenges to Guyana's security and stability. The economic implosion in Venezuela has contributed to a migrant crisis that has increased vulnerabilities along our borders. Criminal networks exploit these conditions, engaging in illicit activities that undermine our national security, fuel violence, and erode the rule of law. The scourge of transnational crime is not confined by borders. It requires a coordinated and robust response to dismantle the networks that profit from human suffering and instability. The Guyana Defense Force must therefore intensify its efforts to combat these threats, leveraging intelligence, technology, and strategic partnership to disrupt and assist in deterring transnational criminal operations. These operations must never see a welcoming home in Guyana. They must never see a welcoming home in Guyana. We must disrupt at every opportunity so that they would understand that they have no place in Guyana. That is important, to proactively do this. In addressing these challenges, collaboration with our regional friends and allies is essential. Transnational crime is a shared problem that demands a collective solution. By working closely with organizations such as CARICOM, the regional security system, and international partners, the GDF can advance its capacity to monitor borders, intercept illicit shipments, and prosecute those involved in criminal activities. And we are investing in the assets to allow us to do this. Strengthening regional cooperation will not only bolster Guyana's security, but also contribute to the stability and prosperity of the entire Caribbean region. The GDF must remain vigilant in protecting our borders and our people, ensuring that Guyana remains a safe and secure nation in the face of evolving transnational threats. Regional developments. The controversy resulting from the territorial claim by Venezuela to Guyana Essequibo region remains a serious and persistent threat to our nation's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Despite the matter being rightfully before the International Court of Justice for resolution, Guyana continues to face acts of provocation and aggressive rhetoric from Venezuela. These actions not only undermine the principles of international law and peaceful coexistence, but also create an atmosphere of uncertainty and tension. In the face of such posturing, Guyana must remain resolute in defending its sovereignty while continuing to pursue a peaceful resolution through the ICJ. At the same time, we must remain vigilant and prepared to respond to any escalation that threatens our national security. To counter these threats, Guyana continued to bolster its capability. We continue our strong work in military diplomacy, building partnership, expanding relationship, especially with our allies. The Guyana Defense Force plays a critical role in safeguarding our borders from any potential aggression. And at this point, I want to pause and for us to recognize with a loud round of applause the officers and all members of the Guyana Defense Force who are serving at our border location. Their sacrifices, selfless act, commitment to national defense, to our motherland, to all of us, to all of Guyana, must never, ever be taken for granted. Our efforts must extend beyond military preparedness. We must continue to actively seek diplomatic support and solidarity from the international community, from our regional partners, particularly within CARICOM, the Commonwealth, and the Organization of American States. Let not our restraint and our commitment to peace, diplomacy, and the rule of law be interpreted as a sign of weakness. Guyana is prepared and ready to always defend our nation against any threat to its sovereignty. Haiti holds an unparalleled place in the history of the Caribbean and the world. As the first independent Black republic, its revolution in 1804 shattered the chains of colonial rule and inspired liberation movements across the region. Today, as a sister state within CARICOM, Haiti remains an integral part of the Caribbean family. Bound by shared struggles and aspirations, its rich culture, resilience, and contributions to the region cannot be ignored. Neither can its current challenges. The ongoing instability and security crisis in Haiti demand the collective action of the Caribbean and the Western Hemisphere. But turning a blind eye would betray the very principles of regional unity and cooperation that CARICOM upholds. Guyana will not abandon Haiti, even if more powerful nations choose to disregard their commitment. Our commitment to regional solidarity compels us to stand firmly by Haiti's side in its time of need. We recognize that stability in Haiti is crucial, not just for its people, but for the entire Caribbean. Guyana will work alongside regional and international partners to support meaningful solutions that restore security, governance, and economic opportunity in Haiti. Haiti stood for freedom when the world sought to suppress it. Today, we must stand by Haiti. The migrant crisis. Guyana is not untouched by the growing migrant crisis unfolding in the hemisphere. The economic collapse in Venezuela, coupled with the challenges everywhere, has driven thousands of migrants to seek opportunities within our borders. As a developing nation experiencing rapid economic transformation, Guyana has become an attractive destination for those in search of work and stability. Given our own history, where thousands of Guyanese once sought refuge in other countries during difficult times, we cannot turn a blind eye to the humanitarian plight of those fleeing hardship. Our commitment to regional solidarity and basic human decency requires us to provide assistance where possible and within our means to do so. However, the realities of migration also bring significant national security risks and social costs that must be carefully managed. While Guyana remains sympathetic to those who seek a better life, migration must happen in a lawful and structured manner. The uncontrolled movement of migrants presents challenges related to border security, public health, social services, and employment. It is for this reason that we insist all migrants enter through legal ports of entry and comply with our laws. This requires that we maintain order, protect national interests, and ensure that public safety and the well-being of our citizens are not undermined. A balance must be struck, one that upholds our humanitarian values and culture whilst preserving the stability and security of our nation. Here at home, we also have our domestic challenges. Recently, we have built a national defense architecture. Well, we have commenced the building of a national defense architecture. And the difference here, and I hope that the National Defense Institute, as mandated a year ago, will present a paper to this conference on the national defense architecture that will stimulate the discussion. Not doing so, you'll be falling short of a mandate given to you a year ago. Building a national defense architecture that involves every citizen. A national defense architecture that involves every citizen. And I want to spend some time on this. A national defense architecture that is system-based, with a shared information platform, one that addresses and does the analytics for the country, one that deals with issues of cybercrime. And the National Defense Institute is an important unlocker, integrator of this system. Recently, we mandated the Institute to commence a training program among private sector CEOs and chairmen and leaders on cybercrime, understanding fundamentally what cybercrime is. So that architecture must be built out in which every citizen understands their role in the defense of our nation, where every citizen understands their role in preventing challenges and threats. Already, citizens are naturally doing this, reporting illegal movement of people across our borders in boats, giving intelligence to Kanu, intelligence to the army, intelligence to the police force. But it must now be system-based. An architecture must be developed that allows every citizen to be part of this. Guyana's emergence as an oil-producing state marks a transformative chapter in our nation's development, bringing with it substantial offshore investment and the construction of a pipeline to harness natural gas for energy. Alongside this, our lucrative fishing grounds provide livelihoods for countless Guyanese and contribute significantly to our foreign exchange earning. Inland, our wealth extends to gold, other precious metals, and extensive forestry resources, all of which form an integral part of our natural patrimony. These resources are not only the foundation of our economic growth, but also a legacy we must safeguard for future generations. It is imperative that we protect them from external threats, whether through maritime piracy, illegal resource extraction, or other forms of exploitation through illegal incursions. Let me say this. I want officers to understand that in the future, very soon into the future, Guyana will be a country that is known to have production of oil per capita higher than Kuwait. Let us understand the challenge this brings with it. Because more and more of our international partners and players will see Guyana, which must be a stable democracy, which must be a country that abides by the rule of law, will see Guyana as their strategic ally in fulfilling their energy needs and requirements. Understanding this and its interplay in our security architecture is also very important. The Guyana Defense Force, in collaboration with other national agencies, must remain vigilant and proactive in defending these assets. But in doing so, I hope at this officers' conference, we'll ask the Guyana Forestry Commission and all the other agencies, the Geology and Mines Commission, to present a paper to officers on what they see as their current and future challenges and threats, so that you will be aware. These are the changes and innovation in the officers' conference that will help us to develop a more robust, expansive, national defense architecture that reflect the challenges and needs of all of Guyana. The modernization of our Guyana Defense Force is not a choice. It is a necessity. We inherited a force that was under-resourced and ill-equipped to meet the evolving security challenges of a rapid changing world. In 2019, for example, $14 billion was allocated to the Guyana Defense Force, far from sufficient to modernize our national defense capability. From 2020 to 2024, we've injected more than $115 billion in financing the Guyana Defense Force. Recognizing the urgent need for transformation, we have significantly increased this year's allocation to $50.4 billion. From $14 billion in 2019 to $50.4 billion, more than 3.5 times the 2019 allocation. This investment is part of our plan to build a more agile and capable organization that can effectively safeguard our sovereignty, protect our borders, and respond to emerging threats. We also will continue to invest heavily in our human asset, our human capability. We'll give you the best of training. We'll invest in ensuring that you have the best of training, that even when you retire, you are reabsorbed efficiently into the economy, as you are seeing now. Every single officer that retires, an evaluation is done to see how they can be reabsorbed with their skill set into the economy. We're not going to only train you for now. We're going to invest in you, in your welfare, for now and the future, so that you will live a continuously productive life here in Guyana. So when one asks why I asked the Chief of Defense Staff to get 20 persons for me to do a master's degree in supply chain management, it is because the future of Guyana requires this capability, and the military is naturally trained to provide this capability. So that is what we're doing. We're going to continue the expanding benefits, an increase in salaries, an increase in other benefits. Work on a plan to ensure that you have access to the best medical care, whilst we are building out a national health architecture that is world-class. There must be a window through which our men and women in uniform are given some differential access. Some differential access. This year's historic investment will enable the acquisition of new equipment, advanced training, and expand operational capabilities in critical areas such as land border surveillance, maritime security, disaster response management. The Guyana Defense Force is being made fitter for purpose. We're stronger, more responsive, and better prepared than ever before. Since 2020, we have provided training, both locally and overseas, to some 6,455 ranks at a cost of more than 2.5 billion Guyana dollars. In order to boost training, we have started a National Defense Institute. We're expanding the force drone capabilities. Last year, we acquired some additional assets, which I will not repeat. The Chief of Defense Staff would have mentioned those. However, there is also elections this year. This year is an election year in our country. And as always, the Guyana Defense Force stands ready to fulfill its constitutional duty to support civilian law enforcement in maintaining peace and order, and importantly, in sustaining democracy forever in this country. Elections are a fundamental pillar of our democracy, and we must ensure that the process unfolds in an environment free from intimidation, violence, or disruption. It did not go without notice some comments made recently by some political leaders in this regard. While we do not anticipate unrest or anything that is contrary to the rule of law, we must remain vigilant against any attempt to unsettle internal order. The Defense Force will be on standby, prepared to act if necessary, to uphold stability and protect the democratic process. Let me be clear, we are not asking anyone to take a partisan stand. We ask every day for the members of the joint services to take a professional and national stand. Every member of the force has a right to vote according to the dictates of their conscience. And as long as I'm Commander-in-Chief, their right will be respected. The professionalism of the military will be always upheld. Our duty is to the nation, to its security, and the preservation of law and order, not to any political interests. Guyana's democracy depends on free, fair, and peaceful elections, and we will ensure that no force, internal or external, disrupts the will of the people. As you begin your annual Officers Conference 2025, I charge you, the officers of the GDF, with boosting the force strategic partnership in 2025. This is necessary to strengthen the force's defense posture and enhance its operational effectiveness. I entrust you with forging closer ties with friendly militaries, engaging in joint training exercises, and acquiring modern equipment through military cooperation agreement. I also thank you for pursuing a more robust and diversified policy of defense cooperation, ensuring that Guyana benefits from intelligence sharing, capacity building initiative, and technological advancement. Additionally, defense diplomacy must remain a key pillar of our strategy, engaging with regional and international partners to bolster deterrence against external threats. The Guyana Defense Force is further charged with maintaining a high state of readiness to provide support to our security services when necessary, ensuring a safe and stable internal environment. As guardians of our nation's security, the force must be prepared to assist in upholding law and order, responding swiftly to any threats that may arise. Additionally, the GDF has a critical role in protecting our country's vast natural resources, both on land and in our expansive maritime zone. Whether it's safeguarding our forests, mineral wealth, or oil-rich waters, the force must remain vigilant, capable, and proactive in deterring illegal activities that threaten our national interests. The Guyana Defense Force must remain ready to respond to natural disasters and emergencies, whether it be floods or the effects of our extreme weather events. The force must act swiftly, protect lives, provide humanitarian relief, and aid in national recovery. At the same time, the GDF must be prepared to support law enforcement in combating illegal incursions into our territory, ensuring that our borders remain secure from those who seek to violate our sovereignty. Vigilance against transnational criminal syndicates is paramount, as these groups threaten national security through drug and human trafficking, illegal arms trade, and other illicit activities. All that you do must be informed by a defense policy predicated on the nation's security through peace. We do not seek conflict, nor do we posture for aggression. Instead, we believe that true security is achieved through stability, preparedness, and cooperation. A strong and capable defense force acts as a deterrent against external threats, ensuring that our sovereignty is never questioned. By investing in modernization, strategic defense partnership, defense cooperation, and diplomacy, we are reinforcing our ability to protect our nation without provoking hostility. Our commitment to the rule of international law, regional cooperation, and peaceful conflict resolution reflects our belief that security is best maintained not through confrontation, but through pursuit of peace. However, peace is only sustainable when backed by readiness. While we remain committed to peaceful relations, we must never be complacent. A well-equipped, well-trained, and highly professional and agile defense force ensures that peace is preserved, not by mere goodwill, but by the clear ability to defend it. This is why we continue to enhance our defense capabilities, strengthen border security, and support law enforcement in safeguarding our natural resource and territorial integrity. Guyana's prosperity depends on stability, and stability requires a force that is always prepared. Security through peace is not just an aspiration, it is a responsibility, one that I charge you with upholding. I wish you every success to the 2025 Annual GDF Officers Conference. I thank you, and God bless you and your families.
You may be seated. Commander-in-Chief, sir, silent gratitude isn't much to anyone. In this regard, I'd like to invite Second Lieutenant Milton, who will move the vote of thanks. After the vote of thanks, officers who are seated beyond the third row, you're kindly asked to move to the playfield area where the bleachers are set up for the group photograph. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, members of Cabinet, National Security Advisor, Chief of Defense Staff, Brigadier Omar Khan, other heads of services, Colonel General Staff, Director of National Security and Intelligence Agency, branch heads, senior officers, Force Sergeant Major, warrant officers, special invitees, and members of the media. A pleasant day to you all. I am 999713, Second Lieutenant Milton Williams. It is a distinct honor as the youngest officer presently in the Guyana Defense Force to express gratitude to you, Your Excellency, for your feature address. Your Excellency, today you have mentioned a few key points that has and will benefit the careers of the service men and women under your charge. You highlighted that we, the leaders, must charter a course to form an agile and forward-thinking force. Our partnerships must be measured by shared prosperity and focuses on securing our borders and protecting our assets. Additionally, you mentioned the future of our nimbleness, agility, and ability will be an innovation of artificial intelligence and technology, and adapting what is relevant to our force. With this, we must be aware of the challenges that comes with artificial intelligence and technology. Further, you mentioned our capabilities are both for national and regional support, which is against climate change and criminal networks, which threatens our national security and warrants a robust response to disrupt and resist these transnational criminal networks. In keeping with our team, transforming the force to better confront the nation's present and future challenges by enhancing its awareness, adaptability, and agility capabilities. I wish to quote a renowned leadership writer who said, "Great leaders are willing to confront the uncomfortable and lead people through it," by John C. Maxwell. Your Excellency, your steadfast support of our armed forces has strengthened our ability to protect and serve, ensuring that we remain prepared to defend our country and uphold peace. Under your guidance, we have seen advancements in our capabilities, improvements in our welfare, and a renewed sense of pride and duty among our ranks. Your Excellency, on behalf of the Chief of Defense Staff, officers and ranks of the Guyana Defense Force, both regular and reserve, I would like to extend sincere gratitude to you for your leadership, vision, and commitment to our nation's security and sovereignty. Thank you, and may the Almighty bless you and our beloved country. Kindly stand as we recite the national pledge. I pledge myself to honor always the flag of Guyana and to dedicate to my country, to be obedient to the laws of Guyana, to love my fellow citizens, and to dedicate my energies towards the happiness and prosperity of Guyana. Thank you.